Coffee. Is it good for you? Does it help improve performance? I'm about to tell you right now. Now, I know it's kind of surprising that at Clear Cut Fitness, we haven't actually addressed the whole coffee situation yet. And that's because information on this topic is literally everywhere. You can find it on any YouTube channel, on anyone that you follow in terms of fitness or nutrition, on Instagram or whatever. But the thing is, you haven't heard it the clear cut way. And the clear cut way is always a mixture of research-based and anecdotally in the gym based. I'm going to briefly go over the benefits of coffee, and then at the same time, I'm going to tell you a couple things that you should probably be careful about with coffee. First things first, yes, coffee, and more specifically the caffeine in coffee, is a performance enhancer. And that's pretty much across the board, anywhere from cardio and endurance to strength to power to even mental performance. I would say that's the most important benefit to coffee, and that's why most of the world is pretty much addicted to it. That's not all coffee is good for. It also has antioxidants that help battle free radicals in the body, and it also just tastes great. Think of how many ways you can make coffee and how many things you can mix coffee with. The possibilities are seemingly endless, and I find even myself every couple of days or every couple of weeks switching up my coffee to whatever I feel like at the time. Now, a couple things to be careful about with coffee. Research shows that you should have no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. Now, of course, that's different for everybody. It's just a general guideline, as there's research that also shows that different people have different caffeine sensitivities. So, for example, some people might start noticing the negative effects of too much caffeine at about 400 milligrams. Some might be less, maybe 300 milligrams a day, and some might be even more. That's something that you yourself have to pay attention to. Now, if you've ever overconsumed coffee and caffeine in a day, or even multiple days in a row, I'm sure you've noticed some of the negative effects of it. They pretty much go hand in hand with what the research also shows. The most common things being jitters, increased anxiety, difficulty sleeping, that includes getting to sleep and the quality and the length of your sleep, and just overstimulation and anxiety in general. Another concern that you hear often about coffee is that it dehydrates you. Now, that's somewhat true, but also somewhat not true at the same time. What's true is that caffeine is a diuretic. So that's going to promote your body to excrete and get rid of most of the fluids, especially water. However, at the same time, when you drink a cup of coffee, you're also drinking some water with it. That's usually between 8 and 12 ounces, or let's say 250 to 500 milligrams. So you're still getting some water, even though it's diuretic. But essentially, a general rule of thumb is that it's pretty neutral. So the general rule of thumb is that drinking coffee is pretty much neutral. It doesn't necessarily dehydrate you, but at the same time, it definitely does not add or count to your water intake throughout the day. Now, if you're someone who actually tracks your daily water intake, you'll notice that if you also have coffee and you don't drink as much water as you normally do, you will feel a little bit more dehydrated. Now, I know this is a poor example of what I'm about to say because I'm pretty sure based off the label you can guess where I got this coffee from. That was pretty much just out of convenience because there is one of those locations right across the street from our new Clear Cut location. However, whenever I can, I try and make coffee myself. Not only saves money, but you also get to choose the exact blend and the exact way that you want it as well as how strong or not strong the coffee is at the same time. So, long story short, yes, coffee does help improve performance, but that's mostly because of the caffeine in it. If you're having decaf, it will not have the same effect on you. Now, the last thing that you guys have to watch out for when it comes to coffee consumption is what you put in it as an additive. It's really easy to chalk up the calories when you're drinking coffee. Whether you add sugar or whatever kind of milk you want, whether it's normal milk or almond milk or whatever milk, you're adding calories to the drink. Now, if you're in a maintenance phase or trying to build muscle, that's probably not that bad. You can have an extra 100 calories or two. But if you're trying to lose weight, liquid calories are the easiest thing to drink and they don't make you feel full. So it's adding calories when you're actually trying to have less than you normally would. It's not to say that you can't add anything into your drink. It's just something that you have to be aware of. If you're eating too many calories, then you'll have to cut back somewhere, and it's easy to cut back in coffee. Myself, personally, I'll drink my coffee black or with a splash of milk and some cinnamon on top. There are a couple of different things you can do. You can swap out sugar for an artificial sweetener, but not everybody likes the taste of that. You can also just try and put half of what you would normally put. And same thing with if you put milk, try and put half of that. Those are just a couple different strategies, but at the end of the day, you gotta know that if you're trying to lose weight, it's a lot easier to just have a coffee that doesn't have a lot of added sugar to it, especially if you're having multiple coffees in a day. That can add up to a couple hundred extra calories in a day.